And I'll worry about my, hey, everyone, how are you doing? I hope you can hear me. I'm trying to, just fix my, backdrop. I should have did that before, but that's okay, too. It's all good. Anyhow, these are the last days, talk show. That's better. Okay. These are the last days talk show. Coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Um, just want to make sure that everyone's able to tune in that wants to tune in. So, bear with me. I'm going to shoot over here to Facebook and make sure that it's sharing on my page. Today's talk show is going to be on um, George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd. And I have put on my page the StreamYard website if you would like to come in and weigh in your thoughts on it. All you have to do is hit on the link, and then I will bring you in as I can. There's so many people can be on at once, so if you do come on and you're backstage, I'll swap you out as I'll swap you out. If there's too many people on, then I'll take someone out and bring you in as the time goes, and people get a chance to share their thoughts. All right, so I am getting ready to share this to my page. There we go. All right. 1 second. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm going to share it twice on the same page. Let's see, watch party. Bear with me, people. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm sharing now. Oh, wait a minute. I want to do this. All right. Okay, here we go. Weigh in. All right. It's time for us to speak out. We live in the last days, and thank God for technology. We can be heard. You can be heard.
Anybody on? Huh?
I'm on. Would you like to join me?
Yes, I need a shirt.
Um. All right. These are the last days. All right. Here you are with your host, Pastor Mary Anderson. Sorry for the delay. I was just trying to, make sure that we could reach many people as we can. So We're live now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, and I just had some topics. One of them, I'm actually waiting for a couple of my guests to log in, but the night show is going to be on George Floyd's murder. I have some topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about was the cop mocking the act of taking a knee when he put his knee on George's neck because of so many people oppose taking a knee. Um, your thoughts on it? The second one is the cop past relationship with George as a security guard um, in the club. They both worked in the club, the same club, a Latin club, and so they did have some pre-existing history. They knew each other, whether they were friends. They knew each other. Um, Three, Derek, uh, uh, the man who murdered George Floyd, um, committed a hate crime. Um, there's a picture on the internet with him saying, "Make America White Again." Number four is the charge third degree and second degree manslaughter. You want to weigh in on how you feel about that? Um, and then the fifth topic is the plants in the crowd provoking the rioting and the looting. Because you know some people, the people that's going, for George's rights. I mean, the people that who are out there protesting George Floyd murder, and there's other people that's out there that's not really caring about, justice for George Floyd or any other black person that's been murdered. They're just out there wreaking havoc. So them is the three. Them is the topics. So if you want to weigh in on them, come on in. Let me know. You can message me. I can see the message. I believe I can see the messages. Um, and you could actually come on to the show. Let me check my mic to make sure everybody can hear me. All right. Testing, testing, testing. Okay, I'm coming across clear. Maybe I need to put my earphones on so I can hear. Um, okay, all right. So, what do you think? You can leave a comment or you can even call in. Let me know where you're at, where you stand. Let's talk about this. You have a platform. You can speak out and let us know what's going on, how you feel. What are you thinking? I just hope that I'm getting across to everybody. Um, so if you're out there listening, message me and let me know that you can hear me. Okay. All right. Shouldn't have no dead sounds, but I'm just checking my pages, making sure that it's coming across. All right. Get ready to welcome my guest, one of my guests, in 2 minutes.
Test 1 2.
All right. Okay.
Testing 1 2. All right. You're good. I don't think it's gonna. I'm live. I'm live. Let me move this mic out the way. Hold it. Okay, I'm live. How's everybody doing out there? We want to talk about what's going on in the world today, which is uh, we're talking about cold-blooded murder and things like that, and cold-blooded murder from a policeman who stepped on the neck of a man, and it wasn't good. And we want to talk about this because a lot of people are watching on television right now as we speak. A lot of young people don't understand, and some of them do understand. But we want to make sure that they do understand that the do's and don'ts of the situation and the things that are happening
right
right
now
now
that in the
in the
streets
streets
of
of
numerous
numerous
cities
cities
right
right
now,
now.
numerous
Numerous
cities and states,
states
there are
there are
a lot of protesting
protesting
going
going
on
on
because
because
what
what
kicked it
kicked
off
it
was
off
a
was
man was
a man
killed
was
by a
killed by a
cop,
cop,
and
and
the
the
cop put
cop
his
put his
knee on a
knee on
man's
a man's
neck
neck
and left
and
it on
left
him
it
for
on him for
eight
eight
minutes.
minutes.
And
And
3 minutes
3 minutes
after
after
the
the
man
man
died, he
died, he
still had
still had
kept his
kept his
knee
knee
there
there
for
for
three
three
more
more
minutes
minutes
uh, until the
until the
man to
man to
make
make
sure the
sure the
man was
man was
dead.
dead.
So
So
as a
as a
result, we
result,
got
we
all
got
these
all these
protests
protests
going on,
going on,
and
and it's
there are
there are
people
people
out there
out there
full
full
heartedly
heartedly
now
now
protesting
protesting
because they
because they
didn't
didn't
like the
like the
murder,
murder,
and
and
there
there
also are
also are
people who
people who
joined the
joined the
protests
protests
who are
who are
trying
trying
to
to
cause
cause
chaos,
chaos,
like
like
supremacist
supremacist
groups,
groups,
and
and
there's
there's
white
white
supremacist
supremacist
groups,
groups,
there's
there's
hate
hate
groups,
groups,
and then
and then
there's
there's
other
other
groups
groups
that
that
who
who
want
want
another
another
civil
civil
war.
war.
There's
There's
groups
groups
that
that
just
just
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
see
see
this
this
thing
thing
be
be
positive,
positive,
or
or
there's
there's
groups
groups
that
that
don't
don't
want to
want to
see
see
um,
um,
a,
a
a,
a
a
a
good
good
protest.
protest.
They want
They
to
want
see
to
a
see a
bad
bad
protest.
protest.
So we
So we
want to
want to
talk
talk
about
about
these
these
things. We
things. We
want to
want to
see
see
what
what
people
people
think. We
think. We
want to
want
see
to see
what you
what you
think.
think.
What's
What's
on
on
your
your
mind
mind
about
about
this?
this?
You know, I
I
know
know
that you
that you
have
have
a
a
hundred
hundred
things you
things you
want to
want to
talk
talk
about,
about,
and
and
everybody's
everybody's
been
been
talking
talking
about
about
it.
it.
But
But
most
most
people
people
have
have
been
been
watching
watching
it,
it,
but
but
not
not
talking
talking
about it
about it
to
to
their
their
neighbors
neighbors
and
and
people
people
that
that
they
they
know.
know.
But
But
we're
we're
here
here
right
right
now
now
giving you
giving
a
you a
platform
platform
to
to
do
do
that.
that.
Right,
Right,
Mary?
Mary?
Right. Our first topic is going to be, was the cop mocking the act of taking the knee? So you can either um, type in your question or type in your answer, and we'll read them, or we'll just talk about it. Okay.
Now,
Now,
as
as
we
we
talk, if
talk, if
you
you
have, I
have,
see a
see a
couple
couple
people
people
came
came
on,
on,
and
and
we
we
have
had
Jada
Jada
back,
back,
we
we
have
had
Linda
Linda
Scott,
Scott,
we
we had
you
you
guys are
guys are
free to
free to
come
come
online
online
with
with
us
us
so
so we
people can
people can
see
see
you as
you as
well.
well.
We'll
We'll
send you
send
an
you an
invite,
invite,
and you
and
can
you can
come
come
on,
on,
and
and
there
there
will
will
be a
be a
square
square
where
where
your
your
face
face
will
will
be,
be,
and you
and
can
you can
actually
actually
join in
join
on
in
the
on the
conversation
conversation
and
and
be
be
on
on
here
here
live
live
with
with
us
us
because
because
we need to talk
talk
about
about
this
this
thing, and
thing.
we
We
need to
need to
give
give
our
our
input.
input.
There's
There's
a
some
whole
a
lot
whole
of
lot of
information that
information
a
that a
lot of
lot of
people
people
don't
don't
know,
know.
and
And
as
as
we
we
speak,
speak,
uh,
the
the protest is
protests are
going
going
on,
on,
and
and
a
a
lot of
lot of
it's
it's
being
being
portrayed,
portrayed
and
and
not
not
in the
in the
negative
negative
way.
way.
But we
But we
want to
want to
talk
talk
about the
about the
positive
positive
things
things
as
as
well
well
as
as
negative,
negative,
and
and
shine a
shine a
light
light
on
on
it
it
all.
all.
As I
As I
share
share
my
my
screen,
screen,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
if
you'll
you'll
be
be
able
able
to
to
see
see
this,
this,
but
but
it's
it's
going
going
on
on right
right
now
now
as
as
we
we
speak.
speak. They're
They're
protest.
protest.
They're
They're
protesting.
protesting.
The
The
cops
cops
are
are
shooting
shooting
tear
tear
gas
gas
and
and
other
other
things.
things.
The
The
protesters
protesters
are
are
throwing
throwing
bottle.
bottles.
Now there's bad protesters are throwing bottle of urine. They're the show. They are throwing. They came there with bats and
And hammer.
hammers and guns and things like that. There are people who are really just trying to disrupt the protests of the good protesters. And so
And
now
now
it's
it's
a
a
clash
clash
with the cops, with the police.
Now
Now
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
go
back
back
off
off
of
of
my
my
share
share screen and
and
wait
wait
for
for
other
other
people
people
that
that
want
want
to
to
come
come
in.
in.
There we go.
Okay, so yeah, I had a picture. I know you probably all seen the picture. I was trying to upload the picture. Um, but I just think that that was an awful shame of what they did to him. With not just Derek Chauvin, whatever his name is, what he did. The other officers stood by and they participated. I can't say that they didn't have nothing to do with it because they did. It's the same thing as if you go into a store with your friend or your coworker and your coworker commit a crime and you don't do anything to say, hey, don't do that, but you go along with your coworker while they committing a crime, or even if they go in there and you go into a bank with your coworker and they rob a bank, but you stand by them while they rob the bank, you're just as guilty you know, as that person, as your coworker. Am I right?
Correct. I believe that. I agree. Because there were four cops, and one cop seemed like he was on the lookout for any people that might see them doing some wrongdoing. But at the same time, all four cops, three of the cops were holding him down while the man had his knee on his back. The two other cops were holding his legs and his back down, and they had their knees and his body as well. The fourth cop was making sure that none of the spectators could see what was going on, although little did they know there were cameras everywhere.
Yeah, it's like he thought that he can actually block the vision, but the vision, he could not. The whole time he acted like he was standing there blocking what was going on, but it was plain as day that we could see it.
Yes.
So they're all accountable, if you ask me. And
right, a lot of people don't agree with that. Now, no matter what political party that you're in, wrong is wrong. I don't see nobody hurt whether Democrat or Republican. Let's take politics out of it. But wrong is wrong. No matter what you go through in life, you have to accept responsibility for what you do. Now, if you kill somebody and somebody helps you, they are accessories to the crime. They are people that are helping you. They help the man hold the man down with their knees. All three cops had their knees on this man, while the other one did not try. Neither one of them tried to stop it. Or neither out of the four, neither one of them. At least one of them could have got up and said, "Hey man, stop that! You're killing him." But they didn't. So they are all part of the crime. If you agree, you can put it in a comment, or you can come on here live. We'll let you in. We'll send you a invite and let you in, and you can come and explain how you feel about this situation. But it's just a terrible, terrible death. It was just a grievous death. What it was actually was a lynching, a modern day lynching, a 2020 lynching. They didn't have to put them on a tree. They did it with their knee. You can choke somebody out just as good as you put a noose around their neck. So it's just a new way of lynching, in my opinion. So let's weigh in on that. Do you agree, Mary?
I do. Let me see what she said.
Also, while you're looking, we see some people coming in. Donald Allen, how you doing, Donald Allen? Spirit-filled up in the house. Donald Allen, one of the best singers in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. And he's here. We want to see what your opinion on Donald. If you want to come in, we'll send you an invite. You can come in and get on camera with us. And we want to talk about this, other than just sitting around TV and watch people throw bottles and watch police shoot tear gas. And, we want to show some things and talk about some things that is not being talked about by the media. Some of the media is telling the whole story, and some of the media is not telling the whole story. Some of the media is actually adding to the story the things that's not true, and some of the media is telling the truth. So we want to come on here and tell the truth as the average person and what they think, instead of with all the glamour and all the Hollywood. We are two average people just sitting here talking about this situation that's coming from a regular layman, a regular person.
I have something I want to show. This is from Adina Watton Green. She says, we can't even protect because the protests are being infiltrated by white supremacists. Therefore, black business owners are asking everyone to stop shopping white establishments for 91 days, a peaceful protest that should resonate throughout the United States economy. Please inform your parishioners of Blackout 2020, July 1st through October 1st. No respect, no coins.
Awesome, awesome.
Donald Allen said, going to watch you on my way to work. Amen. Good to see you, Donald.
Good to see you, Don. Hey.
Donnie.
Yes, and if you get time before you go in, you can throw one more last comment before you go into work and let people know how you feel about all this protesting. Do you think, here's a question for you, Donnie, do you think all this stuff that's happening was George a martyr? Was he caught a martyr that killed him just so that we can expose the racism?
So there's a bad echo. She said, Jada said there's a bad echo. We're echoing.
Oh, I'm echoing? Let me see. I don't. It's the echo going, Jada? Go ahead, write it on a comment and let us know whether the echo is going, because we'll fix it. I might have to put my earphones on. Let's see.
Well, back to what Medina wrote. I am in agreement with this. I will support it. So from July 1st to October, we need to support, each other.
Hey man, we need to support each other. I agree.
All right, there you go. All right, so yeah, we had some guests coming on. I guess they little you know
Test.
things happen, but we're here, and we just been watching for the last what 4 nights,
Yeah.
5 days. You know how this thing is spreading, and when I had one of the topics I wanted to talk about was this right here, the charged third degree um, murder and second degree manslaughter. When I first heard it, I was kind of upset about it because I said, that's, people who get charged with third degree murder can get out. Like they might be walking the streets in 5 days, 5 years. I know somebody, who had manslaughter on their record, and they were, it was almost like it was a gross misdemeanor at some point. But then, as I started hearing other people explain it, attorneys, and I started looking it up, I realized, okay, so that those charges do hold up to 35 years. Doesn't mean that they will, he can get 35 years, but it do hold up to 35 years. So, and with saying that, I also heard another attorney said that when the, the the ex police officer was kneeling on George's neck, at some point it looked like he was actually bouncing, and so just from that, they can actually bump that charge up to first degree. But it's better to go in with third degree because you could definitely, well, I'm not going to say definitely, the chances of getting a conviction with third degree is way better than a first degree murder. Because a person get charged with first degree murder, they have to prove without a shadow of doubt that that person set out to do it or something like that. I'm not really, good with all the legal terms, but they were saying it was harder to get that charge to stick in this case. But the third degree charge, would not be that hard to get. And then there's a chance that the jury would say no, we want first degree. We find him, with first degree. So I'm a little bit more at ease with those charges. I just believe that the rest of the officers that were involved need to be charged with accessory because they were there and they know that man stopped talking, stopped breathing, and he was saying, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." He shouldn't have to say that many times, you know. He shouldn't have had to say it one time because they should not have been holding him in a way that he couldn't breathe. So I just wanted to talk about that. That was my take on them charges. So I believe those charges they can work with those charges because that's a start. Those charges got him arrested, got him off the street. So, but now they just need to be fair about it and charge the rest of them because the rest of the cops because they were right there, and they participated. Two of them participated. The other one just turned a blind eye and act like nothing was going on. Even when the crowd was talking to him and asking him and pleading him, can you tell him to stop, get off of him or whatever, let him up. He can't breathe. So that was my take on the charges. If anybody else have anything on the charges, um, you know, weigh in.
Well, Donald
Donald
Allen.
Allen had a comment, and the comment was everything happened because of race and trying to get us out in bunches because the virus can't get us out of beaches. So they made this happen.
What do you think about that, Mary?
I believe that. I believe that's some of it too. We were actually talking the other day about how it's possible this whole thing could have been a setup. You know, um, our president, feels that he could go out on the street and commit a murder and won't get no charges. So who's to say his followers might be able, think they could do the same thing? And for sure, we were talking. Me and Dwayne was talking about that it's possible that that guy could have did this on purpose so the black people could get out there and riot, but they never thought, they didn't take it into consideration that it wouldn't be just black people, you know because where I look at it, it's maybe 30% black people, 70%, a mixture of white people, all kind of people are out there. So that if that was the plan, Donnie, that they were getting there, they were trying to get us out there, you know, so that we could get the coronavirus faster than you know than anybody else and die and kill off our race, the black race. It kind of backfired, just like it backfired with the drugs when they put all them drugs, flooded the country with crack. They felt like they were going to kill off the black race, the poor, and stuff like that. But it spread it up through the rich people. The rich kids was getting strung out on drugs too. The same thing happened in this case. The black people went out and protest, but they wasn't alone. So now we're actually the minority out there protesting. If you look at it, you know.
I
I
agree.
agree wholeheartedly. Actually, here's another statement by Donald Allen, and it says, "You're doing good stuff. Keep the blessings. Bless the world." I agree full-heartedly too because I wouldn't put past nothing. If there's, I agree that there's evil societies out there that would do something like this to, take the focus off for 100,000 people dead. Take the focus off that, and why not kill a black person just to change the focus and have the focus taken off of that so that we can all kill each other by rushing out there. I wouldn't put that past an evil group or somebody that from the highest person to the lowest. Evil is evil, and they'll try anything, You know, racism is so deep and so grounded in the United States that I wouldn't put past nothing past anybody to try something like that, just to get us out here to fight each other, just get us out here to start something to where there's martial law, and they're making us stay in our house, or there's martial law and we're fighting with the cops and the army. You know, what a that would be a big diabolical plan, you know, evil plan. That something, it sounds like something that you know, you would see on a movie or something like that. But you know, the coronavirus sounds like something you would see in a movie, and so does standing on a man's neck for 8 minutes. It seems surreal, but it actually really happens. But we have to do something about it. We can't just sit and let it happen again, over and over and over each year. You know, there's more people being killed by cops. Cops, you know, and they're not all bad. There's some good cops too, but there, you know, there's a lot of black people being killed, harassed, and threatened and maimed by law enforcement. So we have to talk about it, you know, and we have to talk about the good cops and the bad cops too. We just can't lump in all. We can't put all cops, all policemen in the same category. Just like all policemen shouldn't put all these protesters in the same category.
True that. True that. Yeah. You know, if you look at the people, most of those people on there don't have masks on. You know, they're unprotected. You know, and like, you know, the horror of thinking about how this virus is going to spread. You know, it's just, you know, like only God can help us. You know, only God can help us right now. Help the world. Help the United States, because it's not just in Minnesota. It's, you know, we had a rally here in Las Vegas, and it's going on in Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Utah, everywhere. You know, so people are going out there, and you know, and again, it's just not the black race out there. It's people. You know, people who've been in the house, or who's mad about, you know, not working, and just, you know, some people are protesting the wrongful deaths of black men and women, but some people are just angry, you know, and some people are mad at the government, and they're just going out there. You know, we were just listening to, I don't know if she's the mayor or the governor of Chicago, but she was just saying people are going out there with bowling balls, bats, urine. So, you know, those people are not going out there for peaceful protest. Some people are angry, and they're um, angry against the system that's been failing them. You know, also, you know, there's plants. You know, they're saying that there's people that's planted out there. You know, and I wouldn't put nothing past. I wouldn't put nothing past um, these societies. Um, you know, that's in the world, that's going out there. You know, there's people just out there. Um, there's people out there just busting windows. They're not even going in there looting. They're busting the windows. They're busting the windows, and people are going in there and they're looting, stealing. Okay, so what did the president say? The president said that um, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So is that giving permission for um, the, for people who bear the arms, they have the right to bear the arms to shoot somebody? Okay, so you can make a citizen arrest, or you could say, well, they were looting, and the president said that I could shoot them. You know, that could be taken in a lot of different, you know, wrong ways. You know, they can take that, you know, and run with it. And then what? You know, you got like 100,000 people dead, or 10,000 people dead from citizens taking, feeling like they could take it, you know, on their own. You know, they could take it on their own and shoot somebody for looting. You know, so I don't think that, you know, we need to wait. I should have put that down as a I should have put that down as a something to talk about. because that's crazy, that he would make a statement like that. That as soon as the looting starts, the shooting will start.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I agree. Because I agree because you know we have to be presidential if you're going to be a president. And the president, most presidents in history, when we had different uh, things that happened, I agree that in society, most presidents would have try to calm the situation. They wouldn't give their opinion in no way. All they would do is try to calm each side because there's good and bad and everything. There's good cops, bad cops. There's good protesters, bad protesters. We can't lump them all in one bag. But just to say, to give, to me, when President Trump said that, he was telling his supporters as well as the bad protesters, he was telling them, hey, go ahead and shoot somebody because when they start looting, you need to shoot them. But what he should have did was been presidential about it, and the presidential thing to say was, look, nobody should be looting, nobody should be stealing, nobody should be breaking into businesses or houses or anything like that. We all need to help each other. We all on in this together. Yes, the police should not have killed that man, but no in ways should we be shooting, no ways should we be trying to harm each other. We be trying to help each other, and everything that came out of his mouth should have been positive so that he can de-escalate the situation. But by weighing this stuff, by weighing your opinion and pitting political party against political party, because he did attack the mayor as well. By doing that, he uh, he really changed the atmosphere. That's why there are people right now in front of the White House, because most of the people in front of the White House agree that he shouldn't have said that and he made it worse. And they're upset. We are all upset, about the situation already as it is. But why make the situation worse? And I have Republican friends and I have Democrat friends. Wrong is wrong. The police was wrong for killing the man. The protesters were wrong for looting. But the president was also wrong by saying, given that racist a statement that he made, which is an old saying. You know, if the looters loot, you must shoot, or however he said it. Um, it's a bad thing. It made the situation worse. It's nothing you can say and argue that this president made a mistake by saying that. He should have been just keeping it all positive and trying to de-escalate any negativity. But that was a negative statement. And wrong is wrong. I got to call it wrong. Then now I'm not a Trump hater. I think there's some things that he did that was a good thing that helped out people. There was a few things that I really did agree with, and a lot of things I didn't. But I don't hate him. I just disagree with him saying a lot of things that he says, and he says them at the wrong time. But what we have to do is, use positivity to stamp out all this stuff. Even if you're a president, from the president on down to the clergy of the church, we need to keep it positive and keep people together, keep people strong, keep them together, keep them positive. And if he would have spoke positive instead of negative, I believe a lot of these protesters won't be out here. I'm sorry if that sounds hard. Sorry if it sounds like I'm on the right or the left. I'm not trying to be that way. I'm just trying to say that negative and positive don't belong together. That don't belong together. Negative and positive. Only positive and positive works, and negative works for itself. We can't have negative and positive at the same time. And so if I come on here and say something negative, then it's making it worse. So if President Bush, if Barack Obama, if Ronald Reagan, if any other president would have came on and said what Donald Trump said, anybody else would be everybody else would be feeling the same way. Wrong is wrong. He should not have said that. So we want to see what you think. What do you think about that? What do you think that the president, when he goes on a tweet, first of all, you shouldn't be tweeting something that you should be saying. A tweet is an insult. When you tweet it, it's like you don't even. It's so anybody can get on a tweet. That's lazy. But when you actually take the time to go on camera and address something this deep and this powerful and this strong, when somebody get killed, you don't go on and tweet about it. You know, Twitter is just for it's a social. It's just for social, talking to your friends and saying things like that. But this is all personal. This is people dying. You know, there's people out here getting hurt. So you come on TV and say it, but don't say anything negative. Be positive about it. You got to be positive. You got to bring a person you got to be a president brings people together. So that's just one thing that he said that he shouldn't have said. And he said it at the wrong time. Or if he should have kept that to himself and just said, look, y'all need to be positive. I need you to be positive as much as positive as you can be. What do you think, Mary, about that?
I agree. I agree 100%. You know, you just, you got a fire ignited, and what you need to do is extinguish the fire. One thing that he needs to know is how to diffuse situations. A great leader knows how to diffuse a situation. A great leader knows how to, calm a crowd. They don't ignite a crowd. You don't say stuff to make people even, either act one way or the other. You just have to know how to diffuse a crowd. You got people running around burning buildings down. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of anger behind doing stuff like that. So don't say things that's going to make people, stay out there another day, or you're trying to stop what's going on. So yeah, I agree 100%. You don't say negative stuff in a negative situation. That's like, one wrong, you don't repay another wrong. You don't repay wrong with another wrong. You don't add negativity to an already negative situation. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. How's that sound, Calvin? Can you hear
Hey,
us?
this is Calvin right here. How you doing?
We doing fine. How are
I'd like
you?
to make a point on that. First of all, the kids that are out there, a lot of them are protesting peacefully, and you have people who are Nazis, KKK. So what they do, they mix into the crowd, and they got devices where they're blowing up buildings and firebombing buildings. It's not the protesters that are doing it. It's the KKK. They came there to burn down black businesses. All the businesses are getting burned down, and black businesses, and historical American Indian, they've been there for 40-something years. It's not the protesters. So the protesters are being used by the neo-Nazis and the KKK.
Yes, I agree. The people there are paid protesters as well, and those are the neo-Nazis and the KKK, and they're paid by a certain organization to go there to disrupt, to do negative things. I agree with that full-heartedly. And if I share my screen right here again, just a minute. If I share my screen again, and we look at this. Now we look at this. What's going on right now? Right now, the good protesters are ran away because the KKK and the neo-Nazis are just going around smashing windows or busting open doors, not even going in, just leaving them open. And and the other people are following behind them, thinking that they're a part of each other's group. The younger people are falling for it. But there are militia groups out there. There's another group that want to start another civil war, and they're all doing
Right.
this. They're paid. They're paid. They're called paid protesters, but they're not protesting the death of George. They're protesting because they want to start another civil war. They're protesting because they don't like the government. They're protesting. The neo-Nazis are here because they don't like Democrats. They don't like the government. They don't like the ways things run. And so they're starting trouble and trying to make it look like the good protesters are doing it. And so I agree with that, Calvin, full-heartedly. So go ahead and weigh on that one more time, a little bit more, as we look at what's happening in the world.
Okay, so go ahead. Could I make another point on that? Am I jumping in too quick?
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. You get it. Yeah.
Okay, so my point, and I want to start from the when you were like probably like a baby in the 60s when they were having the riots. Okay, the same thing when the Black Panthers were out. The Black Panthers were feeding the community. They had schools, food, and the whole 9 yards. Then when the riots started, they brought in the CIA, the police. They all dressed up like they were protesters. And you have to remember too that the police, some of them are neo-Nazis. They infiltrated the police force. That's why you see so many shootings and stuff coming up. That's why you see so many shootings.
You got stuck a little bit, but are you still there? So we're going to keep on, continue on until your picture comes back in. But we agree with you full-heartedly because we see it. Everybody see it. Even my youngest grandson knows, and he sees that there's big people there that are starting stuff. I mean, nobody's stupid. We all see it on television right now. We see what's going on. And the thing about it, the person that is paying these people to do that thinks that everybody else can't see that, but now it's being shown on television around the world. And you can see the protesters. You can see the people who are starting it. You can see the people who are just being positive protesters. So as we look at it, a lot of times that even the media is starting to see that there is some negative organizations coming in with these positive protesters, and the negative organizations are disrupting the positive protesters, trying to make it look like the positive protesters are doing it. But the negative protesters through history have been doing the same thing. It's the same old story from the KKK on up. The KKK used to ride through the towns with their horses, do things to make it look like black people did it, like the slaves did, or the black people did it, or they would blame it on people. Like it goes from Emmett Till, when the lady lied and said that he whistled at her, and it started a riot after they beat this young man beyond recognition. But it was a big lie. So it's still a big lie now. Now we got negative militias coming in, and they're doing things. Now, don't get me wrong. There might be a few positive protesters that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but for the majority of the houses that are being burning, the buildings that are being burnt, the property that's being destroyed is by negative militias that are out there, and we need to call them out, and we need to act, and we don't need to focus on just the protesters as a whole, and we can't lump all these protesters in the same bag. What do you think, Mary?
Like I said earlier, I agree. I believe that there is people out there that is really protesting the wrongful deaths of black men and women, but there's less of them than it is the people, that's out there starting trouble. And I agree with you that they're out there trying to start a civil war. This has been in the making. You know, this has been in the making since the saying, "Let's make America great again." As soon as that saying came out, "Let's make America great," that's when these people started plotting a civil war, and now
Oh,
what's
and
a better time to start it now?
Yeah, just to add to that, but the guy that had the knee on George, he had his knee and killed him. He had "Let's Make America White Again" hat on. So make America great, and let's make America white. To me, sounds like the same thing. It was a red hat that said "Let's make America white." You know, so that just goes to show that he had some racist bias on him that was probably part of the reason why he killed this man. What do you think, Mayor?
Um, I agree. I was trying to pull up the picture, if I can pull it up to show everyone. I thought I had saved it last night, but I must not have saved it. Do you have that picture somewhere? You have that picture somewhere in your well, anyhow, yeah, I agree. That's why one of the topics that I put up there was, was this a hate crime? You know, because being as a hate crime, then the charge of third-degree murder, doesn't fit a hate crime. That bumps it up to first-degree murder, a hate crime. When you just out there lynching people because you can, you're mad because you know. The young black men, the football players and stuff, they was taking a knee, you know, for their rights because of the national anthem, is the national anthem, is degrading to black people. It was created, it was written during slavery, and so they decided that they wasn't going to salute the national anthem, and they would take a knee. So this picture right here is displaying him taking the knee, but he's taking the knee on a black man's neck. And then he got this red hat on, "Make whites great again." That's a hate crime. That is a hate crime. You know. Um, Now, will the district attorney go for? I mean, pursue that? I don't know. I think Black America should take a look at this, and this is the stuff that we should be protesting. This "Make Whites Great Again" goes with "Let's Make America Great Again," because when they feel like America was great when white people enslaved black people. So yeah, that's my take on it. I'm trying to help Calvin get back on. So you can go ahead and take it. What is that?
yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree. I agree full-heartedly. You know, because we don't want to make whites great again. And whites are already great, all by themselves. They don't need to make themselves greater. I believe all nationalities are great: black, white, Indian, red, yellow, purple, whatever you want to be. You're great. If you're positive. If you're negative, then we got to put you in a category. But we can't put no particular race in a category of unless they're negative. The negativity is what makes your race not a good race. If I was come on here and be negative towards another race, then that makes me that I'm just in the same boat as the man that killed the man. But we have to be positive about it because
Hey, I'm
when
fine.
you're back, when we look at this picture, I'm gonna bring it back up. When we look at this picture, and it's a negative picture. Look at the man. The man has "Make Whites Great Again," and it's very negative, and it's portraying a racist white man who killed a black man. If we put these two pictures side by side, you see the man with his knee on his man's neck, killing him. If you look at the other picture where he's saying "Make whites great again," but his definition of making whites great again is killing black men. The less black men, the greater the white man. But I have to say, whites don't need, they don't need to make themselves great. They're already great. So are blacks. Black people are already great. Every nationality is already great. So you don't have to try that hard. You don't have to kill to make yourself great. What you have to do is be positive to make yourself great. So I'm gonna leave that as that. I'm gonna take this picture down, but look at this picture. This picture says it all. The man killed the man because he's a racist.
Yeah, and what I was saying, Calvin, right before you came back on, is that when the football players decided to take a knee because of the racist the words in the national anthem, he's displaying that he's taking a knee on a black man's neck.
Right. And just to let you know, okay, so Donald Trump was losing in the polls, right? Because of the pandemic, because of COVID, because people would
Yeah,
get sick, right?
right.
So the thinking is, okay, because Donald Trump comes from that organization. His father, Donald Trump's father, was in the KKK. Okay, so they had to have a diversion. Okay, because what they're trying to get, they were trying to portray before they got busted, and they put on the news that they had these KKK and these Nazi people infiltrating the protests. Trump wanted to turn it around and make it a black and white thing so they can get more of the good white people to come back and vote for him so they can say, look at those animals, look how they're burning down everything. That was the plan. Okay. So they already put it out there. They already put it out there. Can you hear me? Damn.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Calvin. We hear
Calvin.
you.
We hear
you're
you.
freezing up, but
Okay.
maybe
Anyway,
we can hear
they
you.
already put it out there that uh they want to change the narrative so that Donald Trump can say all these black people are trying to burn down America so that he can win the re-election. Do you hear me? Are you with me with that?
I agree. Yes.
Okay, so that was the plan. Okay, the plan backfired because if you noticed in the crowd, you saw there was a black dude that got this video out that told everybody to wear black to the protests. Okay, and if you notice, the ones that are blown up, and stuff, they weren't all black. They showed one dude, he had an umbrella up and he was on black and he was taking stuff and he was breaking windows and throwing Molly cocktails into the businesses. The protesters were coming up to him and asked him what the heck was he doing. You know what I mean? They wanted to know what was he doing, because they weren't there to destroy property. So this was a big master plan of the neo Nazis and the KKK and Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's poll numbers are down.
And
Okay,
all
so
I agree. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue
so
point.
so so the point, every people came out in spite of COVID-19, in spite of the disease spreading for them, because they feel that their freedom was more important, and we was already dying of the disease, but we were dying more 400 years of lynchings and killings. Okay, and before we were able to videotape lynchings, so that's what we're doing. We're videotaping racism. You know what I mean? People getting the police called on them because they having a barbecue at the park. People getting the police called on them. You saw the one lady at the park when the guy was she was faking like he was. She called the police. Said, "I'm gonna tell the police that you was touching me." And the guy never touched her, and she ended up strangling her own dog, trying to act like this black man was going to come at her. She got busted, and her job fired her.
Yeah, I seen that.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so this is a concerted um, ideology and a strategy that's been put together by a extreme right wing nut jobs. Okay, because part of, like you said, Dwayne, part of the militia, they want to have like a war, like a race war, and they don't like the way America is running, so they want to make it and run it their way. But they want to go on the backs of the black people when they go out there and protest. Then after they take over, then they'll turn their guns back towards us and mass extermination.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Okay? So you look at all the continents. Okay, look at Africa, look at America. Okay, the Europeans are outnumbered, they're surrounded. Okay, they are the minority. Okay, and so those people who are freaking crazy like that think that when we take over, that we're going to treat them the same way that they treated us. Okay, you know, we built this country. The White House was built by black slaves.
Correct.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the roads were cut in by slavery.
Yes.
Okay, our invention, blood plasma, red light, green light, all our inventions were stolen. Okay, by them. Okay, we even had the first Black Wall Street, which they wouldn't burn down. They're doing the same thing they did to Black Wall Street.
Correct.
So when you see all the stuff that's burning down over there, they're mostly all black businesses. And that's what they said. They went online, they were on the internet saying that they're going to that city to go looting.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's what they said.
People are driving there and flying there just to, destroy that city. And they're trying to make it seem like it's the George Floyd, protesters.
Yes. Let me weigh in on that. Also, if you look at it, you look at the screen right here. That says the protesters erupt again tonight over the death of George Floyd, but they're lumping all the protesters together as one, but they're not one. It's actually there's neo-Nazis that are lumped in, and they're acting like, so they think all these protesters are the ones doing it, but there's 4 different categories of protesters. There's neo-Nazis, there's skinheads, there's KKK, and then there's positive protesters. But they are the paid protesters, which are the ones that are being lumped in with the positive protesters, are doing the same thing that you said, Calvin. They're burning down Black Wall Street all over again. And what they're trying to do is the same old trick by the white fascist KKK or the neo-Nazis that's been going on for centuries. They're trying to take one story and make it negative and positive towards them. And did we lose Calvin? Yes. Are you there, Calvin? Okay, so we're going to continue on with that point. I'm going to take this off right here. But what they're trying to do is, let me take this off. What they're trying to do is a lot of the negative protesters like the neo-Nazis, the KKK, the white supremacists are out there doing a lot of things. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some bad protesters in every color. But for the majority of the people that did the burning, the majority of the people that did the looting were not all the protesters that went there to be positive. So we can't lump all these protesters into one bag, just like we can't lump all cops into one bag. There's good cops and there's bad cops. But we have to recognize that this is the same story over and over and over. It makes you feel suspect that did somebody start this on purpose? Was this man made a martyr? Was he killed on purpose just so that they can do this? What do you think, Mary?
Yeah, it sure looks like it. It really looks like that. From Memorial Day, when you look at the video, the man Derek Chauvin, he has no remorse in his face. He has like a blank stare, like, he has no respect for a human life. And he looks like he's on a mission, like he's just there to do this, and no doubt, um, no doubt that he already knew this man. He seen this man in the club, in that Latin club, being a bouncer or whatever. And I'm sure he knew this man in a way that he could have just said, "Man, what are you doing with a counterfeit 20?" He could have talked to him. It's like it wasn't like he was a stranger to this man. So it's like he chose this guy when he seen him, when he came on the call, and whether it was a counterfeit money or that could be just a made up story. We don't know if that's a made up story or not. But anyhow, you know, his face. Look at his face right here. Do he look like he cares about the man? He's got his knee on his neck. He don't look like he got any worry. He's not in. There's no struggle. That he's not really trying to get up. He's no threat. George Floyd is no threat at this time. But his demeanor in his face looks like
He don't care.
he don't care. He don't care for a human life that he's kneeling on. So yeah, I could believe that this was all a setup. Okay, it's Memorial Day. Let's go out there. Let's kill us a black man, and let's start this civil war. We'll send our people in there to help, ignite it, and then let's see where it goes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree.
I
I think
think
I think when we uh these things need to be exposed, and this is some blatant racism. We got to call it what it is. It's blatant racism. This man killed a black man. This man killed a black man because of his skin color. Once again, it's blatant racism. The man put his knee on his neck because, let's call it what it is. The man put his knee on his neck because of his skin color. A lot of times, the blatant racism is because of jealousy of another man's skin color. Could it be the jealousy that is deep from the days of slavery, or from the days that they came over to Africa and they brought people of color over here? And it's been there. It's been jealousy. Our skin pigmentation can take heat and sun more. So there's a jealousy there. Whatever the jealousy is, it's making certain people kill another man because of his skin color. But a lot of, if you look at history, a lot of it's jealousy, a lot of it's envy, a lot of it's just hatred mixed with racism that builds up to make a full pot of racism that boils up, that makes people, neo-Nazi skinheads, KKK, want to kill black people. We got to call it what it is. And we got to stop focusing only on the protesters. Let's focus on the racism itself, because the protesters and the stories about the protesters that the news is perpetrating right now is taking over the narrative of the story. The story is this white man killed this black man, and he made sure that he was dead. He stayed on his neck for 3 extra minutes after he died. So he wanted to make sure the man was dead. That's just hatred. That's evilness mixed with racism. And we got to expose it what it is. We got to stop focusing on, like, every time this happens, from Eric Gardner to Trayvon Martin to whatever, we focus on things that had nothing to do with the killing itself. We focus on the protest. We focus on the president. We focus on the government. We focus on the Senate, the House, everything except that this is a racist man, and this is racism, and it's killing the United States. It's not good for the United States. It's killing the United States. What do you think, Mary?
Once again, I agree. I think we need to stop focusing on, the rioting, and we need to focus on who is out there doing the rioting. Um, that what I mean. There's peaceful protesters, and then there's people out there that's just making this thing look bad. you got to ask yourself, if you just watch and you look at the crowd, look at the people in the crowd, this is uh, supposed to be a protest about Black Lives Matter. And, my take is that when I weigh in on it, I believe that it was supposed to be all black people out there, Black Lives Matter, and I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm saying this is what I believe they thought was going to be at first, you know. But when they went out there, they were peaceful. They had to send some other people out there to get it started. We got a lot of young, our young generation is kind of, headstrong and, haughty. So, if they see a broken window, open store, a store that's vulnerable, nobody's around, no police is around, and they see somebody in there, that somebody breaks the window out and breaks the door down or whatever, hey, they're young, they're going to go in there and they're going to, they're going to just take whatever they could take because they feel like, oh, this is what we're doing now, but, they need to focus on who's out there. Who's out there, who's starting it. You can look at the videos and see, who who's doing the most, who's rallying up the crowd, who's out there, getting people, riled up.
I agree, but
what I'm gonna do is
We can come back. We thank you all for
wait a minute before you go, Mary. Before you go,
in about 10 minutes. Take a 10-minute break.
yeah, I want to take a 10-minute break, but I just want to show the people something. Can you bend your head down? What does the back of your background say?
It says last days.
Now we're living in the last days. Now, when we come back from break, we want to pick up on that about how all this is lining up with prophecy and how all this is lining up with Revelation. So a lot of these things are happening that has been said that was going to already happen. And we're already in the middle of wars and mentions of wars, famine, disease. In the middle of the disease, we have chaos. So we're going to pick up with that when we come back in 10 minutes.
But before we leave, we do have a comment, and I want to put all comments up there. This is from Feeney Graham. It says the Trump white supporters are doing all the looting and the rioting, and they are coming from different states. Agree. We agree.
I agree.
And we can see that, but I tell you what's going to happen, and it's already happening. When the news reporters report, they're all clumping them in with George Floyd protesters. So we see who's out there, but it's going to always be these protesters for George Floyd. They're not going to say that these people are out here, the white people are out there starting all this rioting, breaking windows. And not to say that, I'm not saying black people ain't doing anything, but I'm saying if you look at the video, it'll speak for itself. The TV, the news, you see what's going on. And yeah, we all agree with that.
Let's
talk about.
I want to say again, they're out there looting, and and like the young people are following behind them. They're looting too. So what's going to probably happen, God forbid, is that there's people out there. There's a lot of people out there with guns because a lot of people got the right to bear arms. So they're going to start shooting people. I'm not talking about the police officers. They might start doing it too, but I'm talking about the citizens. Citizens with guns are going to start shooting people because they're going to say, oh, the president said if they're looting, then if they loot, then shoot. If when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So that's going to give them the right to say, oh, I shot him because he had a TV in his hand. I shot him because he stole something from that store, which is very sad. And
I
I
agree.
agree.
Let's talk
talk
about
about
one more
one
thing
more
before
thing
we
before
go.
we
Let's talk
let's talk
about
about
we'll
we'll
put Fanny
put
back.
Fanny back,
Put Fanny
put
back
Fanny
up
back
there.
up there.
Um,
Um,
she
she
said
said
that
that
the
the
Trump
Trump
white
white
supporters.
supporters.
Okay.
Okay,
Now
now
that was
that was
something
something that
I
I
wanted to
wanted to
say, but
say,
I'm
but I'm
glad
glad
she
she
said
said
that
that
because
because
a
a
lot of
lot of the
a lot
a
of
lot
us
of
were
us were
saying
saying
neo
neo
Nazis,
Nazis,
KKK,
KKK,
white
white
supremacists.
supremacists.
Uh,
Um,
we're
we're
saying
saying
things
things
like
like
that,
that,
but
but
there's
there's
also
also
Trump
Trump
supporters
supporters
that are
that are
lumped
lumped
in
in
here
here
too,
too,
and they
and they
don't
don't
agree
agree
at
at
all
all
with
with
what
what
the
the
a lot of
lot of
the
the
positive
positive
protesters are
protesters are
doing.
doing.
So
So
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
them
them
equate
equate
what
what
they
they
agree
agree
with
with
what Donald
what
Trump is
Trump is
saying,
saying,
even
even
though
though
what
what
he
he
said
said
last
last
night
night
on
on
Twitter
Twitter
was
was
negative
negative
about
about
shoot
shoot
the
the
looters.
looters.
Um,
But
but his
his
protesters
protesters
believe
believe
everything he said. They agree everything what he said. Just about.
about
Not
not
all
all
of
of
his protesters
protesters
believe
believe
everything,
everything,
but a
but a
majority
majority
of
of
them
them
follow
follow
everything
everything
that
that
he
he
said and
said.
they believe it. A
A
lot
lot
of
of
his
his
supporters,
supporters,
let's
let's
face
face
it,
it,
they
they
are
are part of organizations that did my mic go out? They are part of organizations that are a part of neo Nazis. Let's call it what it is. And that's not to say that all Trump supporters are neo Nazis or white supremacists or KKK, but the KKK love Donald Trump, whether we like it or not. And it's not about political party. I'm not just trying to say that. Uh, I'm not trying to say all Trump supporters are racist. But what I'm trying to say that there are a lot of neo Nazis and there are a lot of skinheads and there are a lot of white supremacists that love Donald Trump. They love Donald Trump, especially what he tweeted last night. He said, "Shoot the looters," and they when he said that, a lot of the looters that were seen coming out of buildings, as you see, the cameras didn't go in. There were a lot of white people there. There were black people there. There were Mexican people there. There were Asian people there, and most of the cameras was focused on the black people coming out of the buildings. And so they want to make it seem like it's a bunch of black, mad, angry Negroes. But I'm so glad and so happy that there are white supporters who came in who disagree with a cop killing a black man. But at the same time, we do have a lot of Trump supporters that don't agree, and they do agree that that we need to make America great again. And a lot of Trump supporters believe that we should make America white again. But it wasn't white. America was red before anybody got here. So let's talk about that. I mean, that's a strong statement, Fanny, that you gave. Trump supporters are doing all the looting and the rioting, and they are coming from different states. Yes, they are. They're called paid supporters who are bussed in to make it look like the positive supporters are doing it. And it's evil. It's blatant evil and it's blatant racism. Racism. Racist people are being bussed in and paid by an evil organization to keep this
By Donald Trump. They're being paid by Donald Trump.
right. Okay, let's call it what it is. And you know,
Okay.
and I'm just calling it. I like that you came on, Calvin, because I have a lot of friends on here who are Republicans, and I don't want to offend anybody, but we have to call it what it is. We have to be truthful. We got to really talk about this, and we can't be holding back or sugarcoating it. So I'm
If it walks like a duck, has a beak like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
it's a duck. That's true. That's true. That's true. So, Calvin, continue on with that point because we were going to take 10 minutes, but I think we should keep going because I think that
Let me let, let me just make this point, Dwayne. Okay. All right. So okay. So I'm gonna make this point because it's like everybody's getting ready to go and break real quick. Mary went over how the cop was staring into the camera. That was a 17-year-old girl that was filming him when he was killing him. Okay. Now the neo-Nazis already been online. They said when I cop, now you know when a cop goes to prison, they're scared to go to prison. This cop is not afraid to go to prison because the KKK and the neo-Nazis said that they're going to take care of him in prison for what he did. Okay. Right. Everything was set up because they've been anxious to start this racial war. Okay. And now Donald Trump said the same thing. Like I said, when you was a baby, the same thing was said by this governor in the 60s. He said, if they're looting, shoot them. Okay. So Donald Trump used that same phrase because he wants to throw red meat to his base. Okay. So if they're outnumbered by people of color, they want to turn the army against the black people. Okay. So what it is, it's a setup. Okay. For Donald Trump to win the presidency again. Okay. And to do mass extermination of people of color. Now, I heard people say, well, why are white people marching with the Black Lives Matter? Because there are a lot of white people, the younger generation, they seem to have more interactions with white friends. They have white friends. Okay, so it's different from when we were younger. It's a whole different generation. Okay, 60% of black and white interracial marriages. Okay, so there's some legitimately white people there who are marching, who are upset what happened to that black young man also. Okay. And this is legitimately people that want the earth and America to be a multicultural place for people to love one another. But you have the extreme right, and I'm gonna just say call it like it is. You have a lot of extreme right wing religious organizations. These are churches, white churches, who are supporting all of this. Okay, because they went out and voted for Trump when Trump said he groped a woman and he did this. They saw all the atrocities that Donald Trump is doing. Why are they standing by them? You know why? Because they're lukewarm Christians. Correct. Lukewarm Christians sitting on the fence, knowing that Donald Trump was at a press conference and turned around and looked up into the sky and said that he is the chosen one.
Correct.
He looked up to the sky and said that to God. Okay? So I know your next segment is when you come back that you're going to talk about why all this stuff is happening, because Donald Trump, in my opinion, is setting everything up for the Antichrist to walk in.
Correct. I agree. I agree because, if you look at it, it's like a puzzle. And a lot of the things that Donald Trump said when Donald Trump, he likes also to change the subject. He wants to change the subject from the 100,000 people that are dead from coronavirus. So, yes. I don't want to put it past him to even put this thing together. We're not just trying to say it's all Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is also, I believe it's all about money, where he is paying the churches, those white churches that are supporting him. I believe it's all about the organization. Money. And if we follow the money, we'll find out that all these people are lumped together. KKK, yep. White supremacists, neo-Nazis, lukewarm churches, white racist churches. They're white racist churches. And and they hide behind the word of God. And what I'm trying to say is that, God, I believe, now if we want to look biblically at it, I believe God is trying to expose this stuff. So a lot of times people are made a martyr. And I believe that this man killed a black man, thought he was getting away with something evil. But in the word of God, it says, don't let your what the devil made for evil, God will turn it around and bless it. And he's exposing all this. What you just said, Calvin, it's a great exposure. Donald Trump's about to be exposed in a big way because people are following his money right now as we speak.
Yep.
And his
Yes.
money is leading to white fascist supremacists. Is also his money is leading, and even he already told on himself a million times already, you know, because every time he opens his mouth, he tells on himself, you know, and he'll come back the next day and say that's not what I meant, but it's too late. You already told. He used a racist saying. He said, "When the looters loot, you must shoot." So he's talking about he wanted the looters to be all black looters, but he's finding out, just like when they put crack into the neighborhood, just like when they put opioids into the neighborhood, it's spilling over to the white neighborhood. Now white people are joining with us and the Ku Klux Klan, and it's all lumped together. And so his plan, his diabolical plan to make us black people look bad, it's falling, it's turning around on him, and it's backfiring. And I think that we you know, it's being exposed on a national TV right now. If we
Yes,
look
it
at,
is.
Go ahead, expand on that, Cal.
Yeah, the national TV already picked up on it. They already showed videotape of the neo-Nazis blowing up stores, okay, firebombing stores. And they already explained why Steve Bannon left the White House and went to Europe to start another chapter over there in Europe. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Miller and then Miller is still in the White House. He's the one that's having all the Mexican kids locked up, you know, and detained, and send all those kids back without their parents. They don't know where the parents are at and separated them. So and that's when the coronavirus comes in, Dwayne. The coronavirus comes in like this. You hear the doctors talking about soon we're going to have a vaccine, right? Okay. When you go to because of modern technology, when you go to take that vaccine, okay, they're already talking about it. They're going to want to shoot the vaccine and a chip into you, okay, so that they're able to take your symptoms by your phone. Okay. What is that chip? Okay. 666. Okay. You will not be able to buy or sell. Okay. You will not be able to buy or sell. So you watch this, my words, as soon as they find the vaccine, okay, and you go for your vaccine, they're going to say, well, you have to have this chip because we're doing that. Instead of you coming to the doctor to get your checkup, we call you up on your phone, okay? And you can hit that app, and app can can send your temperature back to them, all your vital signs back to them, okay? And it's going to be dependent on, okay, you want this vaccine, you better take this chip, okay? Because you stumbled on something here, okay? You stumbled on something here, and when you go into the book of Revelations, okay, and we go to the book of Revelations and Deuteronomy, okay, Deuteronomy and the book of Revelations explains it all, and everything like what you said a little bit back in your segment, okay, it's happening, okay, and that's why they're getting everything. That's why they're getting everything set up. So if you listen to them intently when they talk about that vaccine, and when they talk about what tracing. When they talk, they know what they talking about tracing, okay? And let's see, who's that? What's that rich dude name? The one of Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Okay, Bill Gates has all this money because he wants that app in there, and everybody's going to have that, just like they put that thing into a dog when your dog gets lost. You know where he's at.
Right.
They want to put that in everybody.
Right.
Okay.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be the mark of the beast.
Correct.
Okay?
I believe that it's already scripture. You go ahead, talk because it's all in Revelations, and it explains it all. I mean, all these things that are happening now, wars and mentions of wars, famine, disease, and the mark of the beast is all happening right now. Go ahead, talk that talk, Al.
So this is the plan, Dwayne. Um, it's supposed to be 7 years of prosperity, right? 7 years.
Uh-huh.
After the 7 years, all hell's supposed to break loose. All hell's supposed to break loose because you have these evildoers who are setting this up. They're going to fail, okay? Because first of all, God sits on the throne, so the plan is going to fail. It's already failing because everything's being exposed on TV. Okay, Donald Trump's numbers is down. Okay, for his reelection, and he's trying to find a way. That's why he's saying he wants to bring the army in. First, they brought the National Guard in. Now he called and said, if you need the army, I have them at your disposal. The army is federal. The army is never supposed to come in and go shoot and try to control American citizens. They're supposed to be overseas doing all that, not coming over here telling us go get in your house, do this and do that. They're not supposed to be using the army for that. Okay, so Trump wants to use the army, so he has all this stuff going on, so he can say, you know what, we can't have the election because look what's happening to the country. I better stay here until we straighten this all out. Okay, until I straighten this all out. But what flipped the script when they had the election last month for the primary, and all those black people came out in Wisconsin amongst the coronavirus. They didn't care. They stood in line and they voted right-wing judges out, and some of them caught the virus. They didn't care, and that came to a shock. That shocked the Republicans. That shocked the Republicans. Okay, so the whites that were for Trump, now they are in the rural areas. The coronavirus is over there in the rural areas, and they don't even have enough hospital space for them people to go into. So now it's Americans for Trump. They're starting to turn against Trump. They're starting to, Trump's own people are starting to turn against him because they're getting sick.
Right. They're starting to see that a lot of these things don't add up, especially if he's telling you to drink bleach and inject sunlight into your body, which is impossible to do. They're starting to see that this guy is wait a minute, off his rocker, because you can't and you cannot. There's no physical way that you can put sunlight into a body, and there's no physical way that you can drink bleach or any other household cleaner. He's starting to open up his mouth, and out of his own mouth, just like King Ramses, out of his own mouth, he brought a plague onto every firstborn that was killed out of his own mouth. And there's something, Mary, I want you to comment on this because Mary had a point that
preach it, bro. Preach it. Go ahead.
Donald Trump. We don't want to sound like we're Trump haters and all that stuff, but we want to bring. We're just bringing to light a lot of things that's not being talked about. But Mary brought up a point that Donald Trump's heart is hardened, just like Pharaoh's heart was hardened against Moses. His heart is hardened. He don't care. All he cares is about election, and all he cares about is the economy. He don't care if 100,000 people is dying, because as long as he can get people back out there to start working again, he can care less if they die off. He think this is all going to go away, but the coronavirus is a new way of life that we're going to have to just live with. We're going to have to find a way to live with it. And then, so Mary, take off where I left off, because she spoke it. She said that Donald Trump's heart is hardened, just like Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and out of his own mouth, he's bringing chaos to himself and to his supporters.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so many things were going through my mind when you were talking, Calvin, and Dwayne was talking. One thing that you have to take a look at. When I learned a long time ago, when you listen to what people say, before you believe something, you have to check the source from where it's coming from. You have to be able to, like someone could come up and tell you, I mean, someone could come up and tell you anything, but nobody should be able to come and tell you anything because some people you got to look, where are they coming from? Where are they getting this information from? Where did they search this out? So what was saying that, you know, um, I believe, like you said, that the Antichrist is going to be ushered in. I believe the Antichrist is already here. You know, I learned a long time ago that the Antichrist is somebody who is anti-Christ. If you are not for Christ, then you're anti-Christ. So we could say the Antichrist is already here because there is, you know, people or maybe a person that's anti-Christ. Even though they appear to have, they might talk a good game, but their actions show that they anti-Christ. A person that doesn't attend, I'm not talking about, I don't want to take this out of context, because there's a lot of people that don't go to church, there's a lot of people that don't believe in Christ, but a person that's in a in in a leadership role,
Like the White House.
they're in a leadership role, and they don't display, this godliness or that they have this relationship with God, but yet still want to say things like that all the worship houses should open up. I'm opening up all the houses of worship when you don't even really go to a house of worship. That's something to be like, you got to think about that. Why would you do that when you don't? It's not something that you're really dying and needing in your life, but the people that's going to listen and go, they might just actually die from the coronavirus because there's no cure. You shut down these places, now you want to open them up. For what? So people of God could come together and die, from the coronavirus. And some people are
Do
like, oh,
do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think it's a coincidence that the coronavirus hit the black community first? Okay, so let's look at it. The coronavirus started in Wuhan and China, right? Okay, but the mayor of New York saying that it came from Europe when it hit New York. So why did it hit the black community first? Do you think
well,
that's a coincidence?
it was intended to. Like I believe a lot of things were, that's brought into,
Thank you.
to tell you my take on it, my way in on this. It was meant to kill off certain people. Just like I say, the crack epidemic was supposed to be for the black people, the people that, the, what do you call it, um, not the rich people, the poor people, the black people, or the people that white people are ashamed of. There's some white people
Yep.
that white people don't want to accept either because they feel like, oh, they live in, like black people, or they might even be married to a black person or something like that. So I believe that the virus was, initially it could have been created by, or spread it to go to, like somebody might have opened up something, let's put this in the black community, or let's kill off the poor people. But what happened was it backfired like everything else always backfire. And why did it backfire? Because God has the ultimate say so. Nobody can be God but God. God is going, with the enemy meant for wrong, God's going to turn it around for his good. He's going to use it for his good, And that's why Dwayne said, I said that I believe the president's heart is hardened because God done turned it around, It's like there's a lot of people that follow him, and you might say, what in the world is these people thinking, It's the same way, their hearts are hardened, and it has to be hardened because if it wasn't hardened, then change ain't going to come. We wouldn't be able to see all this prejudice that's been in this world in the United States for all these years. Some people have been real comfortable because they think that it was gone. It was never gone, you know. So God had to, you know, allow man to do something and go along with it until it turned, you know, it stirred it up. Well, now we see how much prejudice you know, the world is, you know. Not the world, but you know, we're just talking about the United States. So I believe that the Antichrist is already here, you know, and because a lot of the stuff that's going on is not in God we trust, you know. They've been took in God we trust out of the United States, you know. They even trying to um, take it off the money, you know, and they took God out of schools. They're doing so much, you know, by trying to remove God, you know, because they don't want this the United States to be built on God. They want it to be built on man and what they think, you know. So God's just sitting back and He's allowing all this stuff to happen, you know. And I believe everything that you said about the chip, you know,
Mark of the beast.
the mark of the beast, you know, the cure for coronavirus. They're gonna try to lump that in with the chip and everything like that. Well, the main thing that I'm really focusing on now is that when you said, he said I could bring in the army, you know, and we already got the National Guards coming in. I mean, they're here, they're in Minnesota, and here's the thing that I think is should be like, with, you know, it's the three of us now, and we got one or four people listening, or one person in. I don't know who's listening in, but we might have more over there. But what
we have three people
on YouTube,
YouTube,
four people
on Facebook, and two people on another
Facebook.
Okay, what we need to do is try to get a way to, for those people that's out there protesting, you know, for Black lives and for the unlawful death of Black people, we need to get some way that they can just pull back, you know, because I see this being a massacre in a day or two. This is going to be a massacre, and a lot of innocent people are going to be harmed or killed, because I believe that, you know, the white supremacists and people like the one who killed the cop that killed George Floyd, and all those people that has all that hate in their heart. There's citizens walking around with guns, and they're going to start shooting people because they're going to take the law into their own hands, and they're going to say, I seen them with a TV, I seen them with a radio, I seen them with groceries, I seen them taking something out of the store. So President Trump said to shoot if you see them looting. So I think people that's out there trying to have a peaceful, they should be out there a certain time of day. If they, I mean, I'm not saying stop, you know. I think the rest of those cops should be arrested, you know. And I think they should, you know, get them cops arrested. Once they get arrested, then they can just pull back, you know. And they shouldn't be out there in the wee hours of the night, because that's when, you know, in the dark, you know, nothing good happens in the dark. You know, the devil, you know, that's where he's at, in the dark. You know, that's where his demons and fallen angels are, in the dark. So you shouldn't be out there in the nighttime in the dark, because that's going to give anybody, you know, especially those people who ain't gathered up here and they got all that hate in their heart, they're going to start shooting people.
I agree with that. Calvin,
I agree with that too. And
take off where she left off, Calvin. Go ahead.
I'm in agreement too. They had a peaceful protest in the daytime, and they were dancing and singing, and there was not one tear gas thing fired or anything. Okay. And I believe, like, you know, I got a thing inboxed in my thing about something in July we're not going to buy or anything like that. I think that's the better way to protest. You know, black people and people of color, we spend billions of dollars on products here in the United States. If we could just shut down for a month, that would cripple the United States economy because of all the money that we're pumping in. Most of the black people and the people of color are the essential workers. So can you imagine if the essential workers stop being essential workers? The United States will come to a screeching halt. Okay? And so instead of them being out there marching and getting tear gas fired at them, okay, all they got to do is hit them in their pocket. Okay? And if they hit them in their pocket, that's going to Wall Street's going to start panicking and say, you know what, we got to get these white supremacists off these people's back because it's going to destroy America if they don't come out and buy. We have buying power, and we need to be more smarter and play chess, okay, and use our economic strength to shut them down. Okay, so if we're able to do that, then you know, they will see really true raw power. Okay. Now it's good that we went out there and protest, but we should be protesting in the daytime. But at nighttime, we go home, go to bed, come back in the daytime and protest. Okay. That way we could see who's throwing the bombs in, we could see who's burning up the stores. But and then like at nighttime, just like Mary said, those guys are dressed in black. They got their faces covered up. And they're throwing Molly cocktails and hand grenades and blowing up stores. And now the people got scared because they figure it's like, oh, it's the poor black people that are going to come up to the good part of town and start tearing up that good part of town. And we need to get the army in and we need to shoot them down when it's not them. Okay, they're being set up for a massacre. Okay, and that's exactly what the neo-Nazis and the KKK and all those white ring stream groups want. They want that. And that's their playbook. Okay, the playbook has been exposed, but mama and daddy and grandpa and everybody, when those kids come home, they have to sit down and talk to them and say, okay, we don't want you going out there at nighttime anymore. Okay? You know, us older people, we got to step in and say, look, y'all being played. Okay? Don't go out there at nighttime, tearing nothing up. You can go out there in the daytime and say, hands up and whatever you got to do. But when it starts getting nighttime, bring your ass home. Excuse my language for the Christians on there. Okay? Right. Bring your butt home. Okay? And then in the daytime, we'll go back out and protest again. And this is what we're going to do. At a certain point in time, we're going to stop buying all their products. Okay, we're going to shut Walmart down. We're going to shut all these name brand sneakers that they're spending $200 and $300 shoes for. We're going to shut them down. If they do that for 1 month, you know how much the United States would lose? They would lose approximately $90 billion. That's how much economic power that black people and people of color have in this country. So I'm just saying this. If we're smart enough, we can do this. We can pull those kids back in and say, look, y'all being set up. The neo-Nazis are using you. They're walking in the crowd with you and they're blowing stuff up. Okay. And then once they start shooting, they ain't going to be nowhere around. And already in one state, somebody already shot 7 people in a crowd and they don't even know who the person is. And they said it was a neo-Nazi who opened fire on all those black folks. Okay? So the neo-Nazis already infiltrated the police force. Neo-Nazi already infiltrated, some of them are your boss. Some of them infiltrated into government. Okay? So they want to get more, they want to hold more power. Donald Trump's father was a KK member. He got caught in a KK meeting in Atlantic City years ago. Okay, so Donald Trump was trained. So Donald Trump is the head of the snake, but the snake has been exposed. So people, we have to pull together and be more smarter than how we're running our operations and pull back, protest in the daytime, and take our money and shut them down economically. That's what you call power. That's what you call raw power. That's how we get them. So I'll get that back. I'll throw it back to you, Mary.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to get some way, you know. I don't know. I mean, like if we just need to let's say together, united we stand, together separated we fall. However that saying goes, we need to get united. We need to unite. You know, with people of color.
Right.
We need to unite. One thing I hate about when Republicans talk about Democrats, and they assassinate our characters and say that we're this and we're that and we're this and we're that. Um, we need to go up against that, and we need to unite. And like you said, I had someone, here she go right here. She, Adina, she said 91 days or something like that, starting July 1st to October 1st.
That's right.
That'll really hurt them. We need to get
That's
united
right.
on that. If we
Yeah,
just
get
have to
behind
buy,
that. Get
we just
behind
have
that.
to buy from black-owned businesses, and that's what we have to do. We have to stock up, and get, our necessity things that we need, ahead of time or whatever. Rationalize what we got, and just leave it like that. We have to do things like that. We have to get the word out to all of our, the whole black race, and the people of color as well, um, that they're being set up. It's a setup. It's a mass setup. It's it's horrid when you think about what they're doing out there in the streets, and they're blaming it on, people of color. They're saying when you can see all the white people out there, and we can see that they're busting up windows, but they're still going to try to point the finger, and Trump said, that they're what do you call them? Well, the other man called them hoodlums, and he called them something else.
What did he call them?
He he said, uh, I can't even think of the name of that, but basically he's trying to, set the stage. You
Yeah, he's
know,
trying to set the
he
stage.
set the
But
stage.
he already lost though. He
Yeah, I
already
mean,
lost
but
because
he's
they
trying to.
already been exposed.
Yeah, right, right. But still, it's like, to his followers, he's like E.F. Hutton. You remember that? When E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens, So to his followers, he's like E.F. Hutton. So it don't matter if, it's also saying that, to people, the people that can see them already, they'll be the people that say your eyes are lying to you. You
Yes,
know,
but meanwhile,
your
me,
your
yeah, go ahead.
eyes are lying. Just like when he used to have his speeches, and they say all these people were out there, and then the
Hmm.
news would say that wasn't that many people there, or we could see the people and there wasn't that many. So it's like our eyes are lying and they're telling the truth. So
Right.
even with that saying, we still need to have our people pull back. When the sun goes down, they need to be home, because they're setting them up. So it shouldn't be nobody out there to kill but themselves.
Right. But
Yep. I,
we have these statistics.
I lost your audio. Oh, okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have these statistics right here. We have 105, 105,000 people dead from coronavirus. Now they want to take our
Yep.
focus off of this. And right now in Nevada, we have 392. I don't know per city what's happening up there where you're at, Calvin, but right now in Nevada, we have 392 people dead. In America as a whole, we have 105,000 people dead. On it in the whole world, we have 369,000 people are dead from coronavirus. Now, Donald Trump he wants to take the focus of off of all this stuff. So what I want to do is pick up on this. And what do y'all think about this, y'all too? That just like we said, that the focus has been taken off of these things. There's 105 people dead, 105,000 people dead. The focus is being taken off by this evil society. You know, it's part of it's Donald Trump, but part of it is also, and we got to say the world, because he said, I don't know about the world. It's the world too, because Russia was involved with this too. And they were involved with mess with our media on Facebook, on different social societies. So I believe that they're in on these neo-Nazis coming in and disrupting the protesters and trying to join in and blend in with them. I believe that this is a diabolical plan that that was set. It might have been set by Donald Trump himself or a whole organization along with Donald Trump. But I believe that the focus has been taken off of this. I'm circling it right now. 105,000 people dead from coronavirus.
Yeah.
And we got a president who don't even talk about it. We got a president, every time you talk about the numbers, he changes the subject. We got a president who don't even listen to his doctors. These doctors that have been, Dr. Fauci has been working with 5 different presidents, and they all have faith in him. So this man is saying one thing and Donald Trump is saying another thing. So now that the stuff has hit the fan and we went past 100,000, that's when the narrative had to be changed. And what better way to change the narrative than to kill a black man? So I'm gonna leave it at that. What do y'all two think of that?
Yep. I agree. I totally agree with you, Dwayne, because it's mighty funny. You know, they were talking about those numbers, and then all of a sudden, a black man was murdered, and the cop was posing. A 17-year-old girl held her phone up for 8 minutes while he was strangling with his knee, and he looked straight into her camera, with his hand in his pocket, like as he was posing for like he was, you know, like in a movie or something like that, you know. So yeah, they orchestrated it because they wanted to distract because of those high numbers of people dying, and they know that there's going to be more people dying. You know, he opened up the country, telling people to come out and buy and sell and go to the beach, and the doctors are already coming out saying you can still get it airborne, you can still get it if you touch something, okay? But yet he wants to open up the country, okay? And he knows he's betting on, like, oh, if I have this civil war going on and all this shooting, they will not talk about all the deaths because of the coronavirus.
Right.
But the bad news for him, Donald Trump's supporters are starting to catch. It's starting to go into the rural areas, and it's starting to hit his supporters. Okay, so a lot of his supporters are turning on him because the rural areas don't have enough hospital space and enough hospital beds. They're flying to different places in helicopters.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's people are now catching the virus. So now Trump is like a rat. You ever see a rat backed up into the corner? He's like a rat backed up into the corner, and so he's scrapping. So he had to come out and he had to find a diversion. Okay, diversion was, all right, let's make some phone calls, get the clan together. This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna go automatically. You're gonna go kill a black man. We don't care. We know that they videotaping it. Okay, they're gonna videotaping it, and we know that they're gonna go off when they see it. We know the black folks are gonna go off. So, and once we get the black folks to go off, then we send our other people to infiltrate those black people, and we start burning up stuff and blowing up stuff. right? And then we jump back into the crowd and starts chanting Black Lives Matter. And then as soon as they see another store, boom, and then they jump back in the crowd. Black Lives Matter. Okay, they're using the black supporters as human shields.
Correct.
So when they do start seeing those black, they're going to know where to be at so that they don't get shot and get killed. So the black ladder people, the people who are marching, are the human shields for when they do use weapons of mass destruction, of murder on the protesters. Okay,
Right. And they're going
so
to feel justified by doing it because we have so many different groups mingled together. They're going to make it like we don't know who's who, but mainly the Black Lives Matter will be the main focus. It's bad enough that coronavirus is killing a great number of us already, but I believe this diabolical plan is part of the whole. I mean, they want to exterminate us. So let's put it like that. They want to exterminate us.
Dwayne, the Attorney General, he already came out and said, he already came out on the news conference and said it's the left that's doing everything. That means the Black Lives Matter people, it's the left. He came out, did it. Okay. But every FBI agent said no. They've seen this before where you have peaceful demonstrations that the neo-Nazis and the KKK get in there and they start blowing up shit. Okay, but this Attorney General who's been lying and going after people and for Donald Trump, he came out and made a statement, said, "Oh, I see it's the left that's out there doing all the looting and all that," because he had to make that statement because it's part of their diabolical plan.
Right.
So when they start shooting, they're gonna say, "Well, you saw them on TV looting and stuff like that, and we did not want them to, who didn't believe in America, to burn down America. We didn't want them to burn down that." I heard the mayor say that something that we built. This country was built on the backs of slaves. We built this country. Okay, so that mayor that's made that statement talking about we built this country.
Sure.
Okay, so now, okay, that things are changing. And Wayne, you put something up. I saw you had some robots playing music or something like that. Because we're coming into the robotic, artificial intelligence age. There's not going to be all these jobs that the coronavirus and from Radnan, those jobs are not going to be here when they come back. Okay,
right, especially the meat factories. I mean, because they're going to use robots because robots can't catch the coronavirus.
Right? And, artificial intelligence is going to be doing everything. If you remember during the debates, you remember that Chinese dude that was running for president?
Right.
Okay. He said he made a proposal. He wanted to give everybody $1,000 a week because he said there's not going to be enough jobs for everybody. Okay. So they got to figure out a way how to exterminate, because baby boomers like me, you, Mary, the baby boomers, we're living too long.
Right.
Okay. Correct. We're taking too much money out of the Social Security system. Okay. So what way to create a germ to eliminate? Okay. They say, oh, it's hitting older people. Okay. So what I'm saying to you, the whole master plan you just discussed on your segment makes sense. It makes common sense. Okay. Because the baby boomers are living too long. Yeah. We're exacerbating the Social Security system. Okay. We have to have a war. We have to put a germ out there to start killing people. Okay. Because we got just too many people. And when the people really find out that there's not enough jobs, that they're not going to be able to work, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be a pallet cave.
Correct.
Okay, and the powder keg they started right now on the backs of the black people, and then after they started on the backs of the black people, it's on. Okay, it's on.
Now,
You
let
know,
me put this question with that what you're saying, because there's a way we can do this. We can all talk about it right now, and there's also legislatively with the different branches of Congress, the House and the Senate. Because we got to put a lot of this on the backs of the House and the Senate, because there's a whole lot of politicians that are in cahoots with all this evil stuff that's going on as well. There are politicians that were making money off of the coronavirus. They were doing stocks. They were doing stocks before the coronavirus even came out. They had stocks and buying and getting money off the backs of dead people. They named some of the congressmen and the senators. They named some of them that did it. But legislatively, as a people, we have the power collectively as a people, especially black people. We have the power to come together legislatively to go against or sign a petition to go against a lot of these things that are happening, that the government is letting happen, because they're afraid. They got jellybacks, and they're afraid to talk to the president. They're afraid of president. They're afraid of President Trump. So they let a lot of things happen. They act like they can't hear the racism that's coming out of his mouth. They act like they can't even hear what he's doing and saying. They act like they can't even follow the money. They know that people are getting, even his own children are getting money out of this. So legislatively, we need to expose a lot of these people instead of being quiet, because a lot of our elected officials per city, per state, are in on this too. They are in on a lot of these things that is happening with the rioters. They are in on the National Guard, the police. Donald Trump practically runs the police. They love him, and I'm not saying every policeman loves Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is running that organization. And they rallied around him when he became a president, and a lot of people.
What did he say? What did he say to them? What did he say? He remember what he said to him? He stood up there. He said, "When you arrest them, I don't care as you rough them up a little bit.
Right.
I don't care." Right. So he told them he was giving them permission to go out there and murder people. That was right there. He was telling them, you can pull your gun out and you can kill somebody. I don't care. And that's when it started. They busted in the woman's house and shot her while she was laying in her bed. She was an essential worker. She was down there helping people with coronavirus. Went in her house and shot her. Chased the young man down the road and shot him. Okay.
Right.
You can see incident after incident because Donald Trump gave them permission. When he stood up there and had that rally with the police association, and he stood up there and said, when you arrest somebody, I don't care if you rough them up a little bit. You don't have to take their head and put them down there soft in the police car. You rough them up. That's what he said, just like that. He said that.
Take your hand off of their head and let them hit their head on a police car.
Right. And you remember that, right? You remember that. Right. Yeah, so he said that. So he already put the word out. It's starting now. Okay, so when he had that meeting with them, that's when he gave the word out. It starts now. Okay. All right, who's going to be the brave one? Who's going to step up and do the first murder? And and now they arrested this officer and said, we're going to charge him with 3rd degree. How do we know he's really locked up? He could be at home watching TV, eating bonbons. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing about it, I forget her name.
They didn't show me him locked up in the bars. Okay, right. Nobody showed him locked up. They just showed a mug picture of him. Okay, right. I don't think he's not in jail with the rest of the prisoners. He probably got a nice big screen TV, nice meals, the whole 9 yards. He ain't in population. They're treating him good.
Now one more thing. Now check this out. Before you go, Mary, Amy Klobuchar, who ran for president, she was over one of his cases, A lot of people don't want her to be the vice, and she's up also for vice president as one of Biden's choices for the female vice president. But she was over one of the cops' cases. The cop that killed the man, she was over one of his cases, and she did not prosecute him. You know, and so we got a lot of these people that we need to expose. Now, Mary just put up this sign at the bottom. Go ahead, Mary, tell about it.
No, I had just put it up there because that was one of the topics I wanted to talk about, and I had talked about it a little earlier. You know, I was saying earlier, you know, how I was really disturbed about the charge, but then when I realized that, you know, they were saying the first degree is kind of hard to get somebody in this case. Like in this case with the you have to know the mindset of the police officer. So unless he's been going, you know, therapy and stuff like that, or unless somebody heard him, or it's going to come out and say they heard him say, I'm going to kill him or whatever, it's going to be hard to get that to stick. But it would be easier to get him at least arrested on the third degree, and then as they gather information, they can always, the jury could say, no, we found him guilty on first degree. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I could agree with that, but
Yeah.
can we all agree when you saw the video? When you saw the video, can we all agree that the video clearly shows that he was murdering that young man? When you look at that video, that's first degree murder.
Yeah.
He put his knee. He did.
Yeah.
He did a martial arts. He did a martial arts move where he cut off the wind so that boy could not breathe. That's murder.
Right. I agree that that was murder in first degree. But when you're dealing with when you're dealing with the law, you know, they got ways to, you know, turn things around, and it has to be without a doubt. You know what I mean? And so that's where the problem comes in. That he's guilty without a doubt. You know, he could do anything with that, you know, picture. You know, he could say anything with that picture. So they'll have to prove what he was thinking when he was doing it. But one attorney did say that, you know, if you study the video, you could see at one point in time he was leaning more. He was bouncing with his knee, and right there, that's clearly first degree, because he wasn't just holding him down. He was bouncing. He was applying pressure. But you know, well, I want to see where this is going to go, because I think, you know, if it was my, you know, if I had anything to do with it, it would be first degree murder, and that would be it. You know.
But did you see when they was talking about? They said
that when he was talking about that he didn't have, one of the attorneys said he wasn't really threatened, like George wasn't really a threat to the cop, because the cop, when you're not nobody's threatened when they got their hands in their pocket. If the man was, if while he had his knee on it, if he was being a threat to the cop, he wouldn't have had his hands in his pocket. When you got your hands in your pocket, that means you're calm. That means you like what you're doing and you love what you're doing. You got your hands in your pocket, you're feeling comfortable. But if George was a threat to the cop, he would not have his hands in his pocket. Don't you agree?
Right. Okay, then that was my other point. You know, he was too relaxed. You know, he was relaxed what he was doing. So he clearly knew what he was doing. You know, and then
well, you know he was a serial killer. You know, he killed 9 other black men also.
Wow.
Listen, I read one of the stories that he was called
he
for
killed 9 other black men.
He was called for a domestic violence call. He got a domestic violence call, and when he got to the house, the young man that was arguing or fighting with his girlfriend ran into the bathroom, and he said he locked himself in the bathroom, and the officer or ex-officer George, I mean not George, the ex-officer Derek Chauvin he kicked the bathroom door down or in, and he went in there and he started beating on this man. And the man said he was just trying to defend himself because he didn't understand why this cop was beating him up. And then the Derek, the cop, or ex-cop, he pulls out his gun and shoots the man in his stomach twice. The man lived.
Yep.
He lived, but he said in his statement that he tried to grab my gun. But the defendant said he wasn't trying to grab the gun. He was just trying to defend himself. He was trying to fight the guy off of him because he was beating. He came in there beating him up, you know. And so then there was another story about the other cop that was what was his name? The Asian cop that was trying to block, you know, the view, but didn't block the view at all. He had another case where he shot somebody and killed them, and he said that the guy was trying to grab his gun. So now I'm like, okay, so now the story has changed. It's not that he had a gun, he tried to grab my gun. So that's the story they're running with now, you know, because they shot an innocent boy who had a cell phone. I thought it was a gun, but it was just a cell phone, right? So now they're trying to cover their butts. Well, we don't have to say he had a gun. We could just say he tried to grab mine. And I just grabbed my gun and shot him because I was afraid for my life. So that's the story that they're running with now.
Well, they need to reopen. They need to reopen all those cases. Okay, because clearly that man was for murder. He wanted to murder black people. I'll be back, guys. I gotta go take my medicine and stuff. I'll be back. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna start up. We're gonna close this out, and then we're gonna come back to the people that's watching. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned.